Here I have a sample swatch of an overlay mosaic crochet pattern. This is going to be something like the, I haven't come up with a name with it yet, but the checkered mosaic coaster, something like that. So it's using the overlay mosaic technique. You can watch the tutorial on how to make this swatch. I'll put a link down below or right here. So click that and you can watch the tutorial on how to make this. I'm going to show you how to do the envelope border with this little swatch. And this is the same envelope border. This is the checkered mosaic envelope border that I'm going to be using for the Mosaic Nordic Cow in 2022. So if you are doing the Mosaic Nordic Cow with us, this video is for you once you're finished with the whole blanket. Do not weave in your ends. We're going to use a double envelope border to kind of enclose those ends. It's kind of silly to do that with this coaster, but it's just a great little swatch to show you how it's done. Okay, so to start, I will warn you, I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but I am like on vacation. I'm hanging out at my parents' house and I'm right under where they're kind of walking around in the kitchen. So I apologize for that. If you hear some clunking around, that's what that is, but just kind of ignore it. I'm doing what I can to get this crochet along off and rolling on time. Okay, so to start out, I am going to take my color A, which is this linen color, and I am going to use this. I'm going to make my slip knot. This is with color A. For the sake of the cow, I did go down one hook size. Well, I went from an H to a G. I used this G for this whole swatch here, but for the sake of the cow, I worked out my blanket with an H hook, and then I went down to a G, just so that the border wasn't as bulky, because we are doing two layers. We're doing essentially two borders, a double border, and then we're stitching them together to enclose these ends in there so we don't have to weave all of them in. Yeah, so with color A, I am going to start on my back side back here, and I am going to single crochet in the front loop only of down at the bottom row. Okay, I can pick any of these stitches. It doesn't really matter. The front loop only is kind of this one on top, because otherwise it would be, you know, on the right side, that would be the front loop and that would be the back loop. If I'm like looking at it from the front side, I'm drawing the back side. The front loop is on top and the back loop. Oh, sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing. All right, so on the front side, like if I was doing right here, the front loop would be right here, the back loop is right there. But when we're doing on the back side, this front loop is on top and the back loop is like way in the back. So I'm gonna be working on top right here. And I am just going to single crochet in any of those front loop onlys. If you know anything about Mosaic Crochet, usually we do our single crochets in the back loop only, but for the sake of the border, the envelope border, we're going to use the front loop only, so that we have the loops for the back side and then also the front side. I hope that makes sense. So single crochet through into the front loop stitches, and then we're going to continue to single crochet in the front loop all the way down until we get to the corner. Okay, and then here we have our corner. In each corner we're going to do a where's my stitch here? We are going to do a single crochet, chain one, and then in that same stitch we're going to do another single crochet. Okay, doing this envelope border the way that we're going to do it, you need to follow the beginning and ending border stitches that I used in this swatch pattern, and you're going to do that for the whole of the cowl, I hope. I learned this technique using these kind of stitches from a couple of other designers that I was just kind of watching how they did it. Initially, I learned it from Heather Noble Designs, who learned it from Baby Blanket or something like that. So I've just watched both of them, how they've developed their envelope borders, and I think this is just a really cool way. So I've kind of incorporated a bunch of different techniques on how to do this, but these beginning and ending border stitches really came from them, so thank you. Okay, so what we do is when we put those two legs of the stitches to the outside of our work, that left this available for me to grab onto those. And we just do single crochet. Okay, to show you that again, we're going to go here in this red. And you see, I'm going to show you one leg, two leg. So there's two strands of yarn there. I'm just going to kind of push my way up through those. Just push my way up through those. I kind of made my stitches too tight. Maybe you don't want to make your stitches too tight, but I did it for the sake of this this sample swatch because I'm limited on what hooks I had here. Okay, and then all the way up on the side, we're just going to do single crochet through both of these legs from our border stitches on the wrong side. Okay, you're going to go through both of those legs like we showed you when I taught you how to do these beginning and ending border stitches. And you see how it just has something really, those border stitches, leaving those both of those legs to the outside, really gives us something easy to grab onto. And I promise, if your stitches aren't so tight like I made mine, it is so much easier. But as you can see, I'm getting the hang of it again. Like I said, for my Mosaic Nordic cowl, I did work it up in an H hook, and this I'm using is a G. So I did my border in the G for the main body of the blanket in an H, and then I had no problem working this up. Okay, here I am getting to the corner on the top. I just worked through that. What I'm going to do is I did that stitch. I'm going to chain one and do that same stitch again. Do a single crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to do a single crochet through the front loop only along the top. For your corners, you can do like 3 single crochets. You can do whatever you normally like to do for your corners. But for the sake of this cowl, I'm doing a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. It just makes a really nice corner. So kind of like what we did at the bottom, we're just doing a front loop only single crochet all the way across. If you're kind of confused what the front loop is, remember you can only really see on this wrong side, you can only really see the front loop because the back loop is hiding back here. And another way to think of it is if we were looking at the right side of the work, the back loop from the right side. It's actually the front loop from the wrong side. Did I just confuse everybody? Maybe. So we're just going to do this all the way around, and then in each corner we do a single crochet, chain one, single crochet. And I will meet you back again when we get to where we started. Okay, here is where I started my stitch. What I have is one more single crochet right here. And then I'm going to do an invisible join. So what I'm going to do is take out my hook. I'm going to go through both loops. I took out my hook and then I poked it through the back of my work, or the right side, but I poke it through like that. And I'm going to take this loop and put it back. I'm going to pull my yarn a little bit tight and then pull through. And that kind of makes it a little bit more seamless than just a regular slip stitch. Okay, then I'm ready to go for round two. I'm going to chain one, but I'm not going to turn. I'm going to continue around. And what I'm going to do is now instead of a front loop only single crochet, I'm going to work back loop only in every stitch around. Then in the corners, we're going to do the back loop only single crochet, chain one, back loop only single crochet. Okay, so back loop. This is the front loop. This one's the back loop. Sort of like what we did through regular mosaic crochet. Each corner, we do a chain one, or we do a single crochet, back loop, chain one, and that same stitch, single crochet through the back loop, and then continue along the sides, back loop only, single crochet. So we're going to do that for round two. Back loop only, single crochet in every stitch around, and in the corners you do back loop only, single crochet, chain one, back loop only, single crochet. So we're going to do that for round three, and then I will, or round two, then I'll meet you at the end again, and I'll show you again how I do the invisible join. And then I'll let you continue on your way through this back panel of the envelope border. Okay, once again, I'm reaching the end of my round two. So on that last stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet through the back loop, pull out my hook, I'm going to go through a stitch here from the back, put my loop back on the hook, and pull it through. Okay, and then for rows 3, 4, and 5, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I've been doing for row 2, where I'm going to do back loop only, single crochet all the way around, but in the corners we're going to do back loop only, single crochet, chain one, back loop only, single crochet. So we're going to have a total of 5 rows. Okay, I will meet you at the end of our 5 rounds, and then we'll start working the front of our border. So here I am. I just finished my last stitch of round 5. I am going to do my visible join. You can also do invisible join with a needle. This is just how I'm going to do it. Okay, and then I'm going to pass it off. And then just do my little, oops, chain one and secure. Okay, so that's what it looks like from the back side. Just basically stripes in a solid white background. Going through the back loop only kind of gave me these ridges. Okay, Now we're ready to do the front border. And basically it's going to work almost exactly the same. This time, instead of starting with color A, I'm going to start with color B. I'm going to start with my red. So I'm going to start with my color B. Okay. Round one of the front side is going to be just the same as round one of the back side. I'm going to start, and I'm going to do, so I'm going to start at the bottom. So this is the top of the work. This is the bottom. You can kind of tell because as much as I did the invisible join, it's still, you can just tell that's where the join was, and that's okay. I'm going to go through the front loop only. You can tell this is the round, and we used, when we did this side, remember we did the front loop only. When we turn the work, that front loop that we already used becomes the back loop, and that leaves us the front loop on this side. Right, so I'm going to go through that front loop. Can you see all those? And I'm going to do, for this round, single crochet through the front loop all the way around, well, on the tops and the bottoms. And then on the sides we do something a little bit different, but very similar to the back side. I mean, exactly like the back side. Sometimes you have to move the stitches around and decide where is that stitch that we wanted. Okay, then in the corners we do a single crochet, chain one, and then single crochet through that same stitch. And remember, when we're going up on the sides, we're going in these little V's. We're going through both legs of the stitch. To make things easier, what I like to do is I like to fold these ends down so they're not really in my way while I'm working this border. So now on this side we're going through kind of the V. Remember this stitch was tight. Saw that on the other side. And we're going through the V that we made by going through the post of the stitch. So we do that up and down the sides. And on top and bottom we do our front loop only. But on the sides we're going to go through both legs of this V, this stitch from our beginning and ending border stitches. You may decide if your stitches are too tight, you may want to go down a hook size when you're doing your border. You don't have to. For the Mosaic Nordic Cow, I worked up my body of the blanket with an H hook or a 5mm hook, and then I switched down to this G, this 4mm hook. This hook I have is from Furls. Furls Crochet. Okay, that was my corner, so I did my single crochet, chain one, single crochet. Now I'm going to be working along the top through the front loop, single crochet through the front loop only. Okay. So I'll meet you when I'm done with that, when I'm done with round one of the front border. while I'm working still round one of the front side. I thought I'd just show you how I'm going through the V stitches along back down the side, just similarly to how we did on the other side, but just in case you wanted to see me do this, just making sure I grab both of those legs of that V from our ending border stitch. Just doing single crochet through both of those legs. With a smaller hook, it's easier to split this yarn, I guess. I haven't really had this trouble with this yarn like this, like I'm having right now for the video. Sorry about that. I do like this Woolies yarn from Lion Brand. They donated this yarn for me for the sake of the Mosaic Nordic cow. I did like using it. It's an acrylic and wool blend. Okay, I'm just finishing off the bottom. You want to keep your ends towards the inside because they're going to get covered up by the envelope border. Okay, I just did my last stitch, so I'm going to go through and do my visible join that I've been doing. Okay. Then I'm going to drop the color A behind. I'm not going to fasten off. Just going to kind of drop it behind. And then once again, I'm going to pick up color A. So this is different than the back side. On the front side, I'm going to be alternating color, and I'm just going to be doing a mosaic pattern. Mosaic pattern is going to be basically what we did here, but in opposite colors, and we're going to be doing it in the round around the border. Let's see, I did not need to do that, but instead I'm just going to change colors here. Oops. Change colors and then kind of where's that end? Pull that tight. Chain one, pull that tight. Then we're going to work round two of the front border exactly like we did round two of the back border. We just switched back to color A, and we're going to be doing, back loop only single crochet all the way around, and in the corners we do the back loop, chain one, back loop, and then continue. Sorry, I'm just splitting this yarn. What is happening? I do not normally have this problem. Maybe it's because it's like the end of my little yarn ball, so it's kind of frayed. I don't know. I don't normally have this problem with this yarn, so something is up. Okay, so back loop only, single crochet all the way around, and then adding that chain 1 in the corners. Okay, so that will be round 2. And then we're going to do the invisible join, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, finished with round 2. Just going to do my invisible join. Oop, put our fingers here. Okay, pull that tight a little bit. There we go. And I am not going to fasten off. I'm just going to drop that behind. And for round 3, I'm going to pick up the yarn, my color B. Yes. And then we are going to chain 1. And now we are ready to start round 3 with color B. So we're going to work this similarly as before, like we've been doing, but now we're going to add a little bit of mosaic stitches in here. And we're going to alternate between back loop only single crochet and front loop only double crochet. So we'll just start with this stitch here. We're going to do single crochet in the back loop. And then for the next stitch, we're going to do front loop double crochet, single in the back loop, double in the front loop, single, and you know the double would be next, but the next stitch is a corner. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to just work my corner by doing a single crochet through that, chain 1 and a single crochet. And then to even that out, what I'm going to do is a single crochet. And that way my corners just look a little bit even. I'm gonna yarn over, and then so that stitch is right there. I'm going to do my front loop only double crochet in that next one. Just want our stitch counts to even out at the end. And just alternate all the way around. Okay, so I hope by now you can just kind of get the gist. We're going to make a little checkered pattern like we did for the body of this little swatch. Okay, alrighty, Rue. So I had finished round 3, and then I did a round 4. Round 4 is just the same as before, where it's just back loop only single crochet all the way around. Okay, I know I'm ready to start round 5 on the front border. There's 5 rounds in the back border, maybe 5 rounds in the front border. And for round 5, we're going to do this just the same. Chain 1. You notice how I'm carrying my yarn up the back, but that's all going to be hidden. It's all going to be hidden, so don't even worry about it. Okay, and what we're going to do here is on the opposite stitches as round 3, we're going to do the front loop only double crochet, back loop only single crochet. Okay, so remember our first stitch we did the back loop only single crochet, so in that stitch right there we're going to do the front loop only double crochet. We're going to drop down and do a double crochet right there, and then in the next stitch we're going to do the back loop only single, and we're going to do a double, drop down double, and a single in the back loop. So This one's basically the same as row 3, but now we've just changed it up a little bit. Something else I forgot to mention, like when you are joining round 3, I think I had an extra stitch or I was missing one or something, so I just kind of made it work and I fudged a little bit, so just to make sure that you have kind of similar sized windows all the way around. The corners on this are a little bit funky, but you kind of have like a bigger gap there for the corners. I think it looks all right. So I hope that makes sense. You just kind of make it work. I haven't really found an exact science. Okay, so we're just going to continue around, and then we're going to have this little checker box look like we have here, but just opposite here. Okay, so now you see I have finished round 5 of the front panel. You see the front and the back kind of line up. Now the next step I'm going to take is I'm going to find my ends, and I'm just going to tie 2 of them together. Tie the ends together just 2 at a time, just to secure them. You know, for this little swatch, doesn't really matter, but like for the Mosaic Nordic cow, that to me is like an heirloom blanket that I'm going to pass down to everybody, grandkids, great-grandkids, forever and ever, and I just want those ends to just be nice and secure. I do not want my blanket unraveling. So maybe some people say you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so you would just continue securing the ends, maybe get a little bit closer to the ends than that. So yeah, secure all your ends. Then what you're going to do is you're going to trim the ends to about 1 inch in length. And really, you just want your ends to fit inside. You don't want to have too much bulkiness inside your envelope border, but just trim them so that they'll fit nicely in your envelope border. And then if you've had to use some extra yarn for if you have extra tails because you had to switch your skeins or whatever, trim those too. Make sure that they're tied together nice and secure. And then kind of off screen there, I'm sorry. I hope you just saw, I'm not sure what the video looks like, but I hope you saw that here, I don't want to trim that one because that's going to be my color A that I'm going to use for seaming. Basically about 1 inch tails. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to hide all of these in there. Okay, so I'm switching back to my color A, and then what we're going to do is line up the stitches on the borders, and I'm going to do back loop only single crochet through both loops. For both sides. So try to get the stitches lined up. Line up your corners. Get the stitches lined up. back loop only through both panels. And so really it's the loops that are closest together. If you want to, you can just keep it simple and you could do like seam both loops. This is what I am choosing to do here with my border. Again, I'm getting to the ends of my little scraps here, so that's what I really feel like on the ends. They're getting just a little stringy. Trying to make sure that the stitches line up so that you got some nice crisp lines, nice crisp corners. And I'm one who, if it's not perfect, it's okay. And what you want to do, especially as you're going around to the corners or down to the sides, is you want to ensure that all the ends that you have, both from your beginning and ending border stitches or from any other just ends that you have from using different skeins of yarn, are just being enclosed in this envelope. Similarly to before, in each corner we're going to do a single crochet, chain one, single crochet through those loops that are closest together for seaming. All right. I just like doing the seaming with color A because then it just gives us a nice crisp white border too. You could use color B if you want, if you don't want to have that contrast. It's up to you. I don't like to micromanage other crocheters. If you have any other cool ideas, definitely share them with me. I'd love to see them. Okay, but you notice how I'm just making sure that my ends are enclosed here, that I don't have any sticking out, and that way they're just hidden from view. Okay, this is what I do to seam it. Okay, I'll let you finish that on your own and meet you at the end. Okay, I promise this is just a game of yarn chicken and I won. That's excellent news. Here I am at the end of my envelope border. I'm just going to end this off once more with the invisible join. You can do this, like I said, with a needle. I don't have a needle on me. I'm on vacation. So, I'm trying to go through my loops here without snagging. Okay. End it. And that looks pretty darn good. So that's my only end that I have showing. All the other ones are hidden with this envelope border. Yes, it does take some time to do this envelope border, but doesn't it look fabulous? So that's just my little swatch showing you how to do this. I hope that you do the Mosaic Nordic Cal and you learn how to do this border as well. Please like this video, put a comment below on whether or not you've made an envelope border and if this is a new technique for you or what kind of technique you like to do for an envelope border. Please subscribe to my channel for more yarn related content, crochet tutorials, and ring the little bell so that you get notified whenever I have more videos. Okay, enjoy!